Hey everyone, Matt Munson here, Project Workbench. Check this out. This is my favorite part. Get ready, here it is. He's alive. In this video, we're going to be taking a really close-up look at my second R2-D2. The point of this video is really just to document him, his functionality, and all the different parts of the build. I don't think I'm going to use this video to talk about how it was built and the different components, but I'll talk about a few things. And first thing I want to say, for anyone who came to this video to learn about R2-D2 building, I've got 3 pieces of advice for you. The first is, if you're not already a member of the R2-D2 Builders Club, head on over to astromech.net and sign up. In my opinion, it is the single best source for R2-D2 builder information, techniques, parts, like-minded builders, all of it. That's where you want to start, astromech.net. Second piece of advice, find yourself a local chapter of the R2 Builders Club or just some fellow builders in your area. I don't think they're really like formal chapters, but there might be like a club that has a meeting once a month or something. Find local people who can either give you motivation, answer questions, help you build, whatever. Lastly, third piece of advice, connect with people on social media. There are some great active builders groups on Instagram, and there's also a lot of R2 builders who post on Instagram. Great place to meet people. You can follow their builds. You can learn a ton. You know what? I take it back. I got 4 things to say. Check out Victor Franco's build blog. I'll post a link to that also. He's huge in France, by the way. Okay, so that's the information for if you want to build your own. Let's talk about me. This is my second R2-D2. Why did I build 2? Great question. The real short answer is the first one I built was built to a very different set of requirements than this one. At a very high level, I wanted my first build to look like it just rolled off the assembly line. I wanted to give it like an automotive perfection finish. And I also, for some reason at the time, was very enamored with the idea of an all-metal build, which, by the way, if you couldn't tell from my tone, was a poor choice. There's no reason to do an all-metal droid. Anyone who tells you that is trying to sell you metal parts. Side topic. This second build, I should say, was intended to be my go out and about droid. My first droid was so pretty, I didn't want to take him out. In fact, I did one birthday event with him, and that was the only one I did, because seeing how people interact with R2-D2s is a little heartbreaking. I think in general, to be kind, the average person on the street doesn't understand the time, effort, and money that goes into building one of these and aren't going to treat it with the type of white gloves you would hope someone might. So the goal with the second one was to have one that I could take out for events, that I could take for a walk in the park, that I could use in a movie, that people could touch and mess around with, and that I wouldn't be worried about. I also wanted to build it for substantially cheaper than my first one. The first one cost me an arm and a leg, and a lot of that was R&D. It was experimenting with materials, experimenting with tools, buying tools, things like that, and the cost added up really quickly. So for the second one, I just did a lot of things different. So for example, the feet on this second one are fiberglass, which I made myself. So I think the total cost for the feet, even if you include making the mold, is a couple $100. The cost of my other droid's feet, which are steel, I think I paid $1,200 for a set of 3 feet. And so for example, they're probably 10 times as heavy. They're harder to deal with. If you want to cut a hole in steel, it's a lot of work. If you want to cut a hole in fiberglass, you just pull out the Dremel tool. So it's things like that where you can really make a difference in cost, in weight, in workability, paintability. There's a million different things to consider when building an R2. And the real goal of this one was for it to be lighter, cheaper, fully functional, and also just I wanted to be mentally comfortable taking it out and about. And that meant doing things like weathering it or not worrying so much about the paint job. The paint job for this R2 is entirely rattle can. That blue came straight out of a can. The white came straight out of a can. There's a clear coat on the dome straight out of a can. On my first one, it was all automotive paints. I had to mix them. I had to primer it. I had to put reducer in the paint. I bought a whole spray system. It was just an absolute nightmare. And I had to do the blue twice because I got it wrong the first time. And I have a whole other discussion about metal parts versus resin parts that I'll save for another video. But as you can see, it looks like an R2-D2. In fact, when it sits next to my other R2-D2, they're of course different, but I think to the average viewer, they're indistinguishable. To my eye, the blue is slightly different. I think the blue on my first one literally cost me $3,000 because you had to buy 3 different types of paint, mix them all together, then put on a candy, then put on a clear coat. And as I said, the first time I actually did it wrong, so I had to do the blue twice. So the blue is a little bit different, but it looks just like what you see on screen. Like, I think it's indistinguishable. So there's so many ways you can save money, time, weight, and just the whole hobby's changed so much in the past few years, past 10 years. So many parts are available easily that weren't available before. The electronics kits are turnkey. It's fantastic. Speaking of electronics, R2 is going to make some noises for you in a minute, so I'll just let the video run. Guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.
Scream.